Hey guys, this is Danny, also known as iAnnihilate, and I'm gonna be looking at one of Paparazzi's games from the Chinese server where he's playing mid Pudge. Mid Pudge seems to be one of those newer, or not necessarily just mid Pudge, but Pudge in general, as carry or offlane or mid, even as sort of a support in some games. He's been buffed quite heavily over the past couple patches in specific regards to the playstyle with Aghanims and the way his third skill works for farming. I think I've seen most people take Flesh Heap and Rot on like equal levels, so I think level 1 Hook, then Flesh Heap or Rot, then Flesh Heap or Rot, like you just alternate between them because essentially each level of Rot and Flesh Heap will block out each other's damage, so a level 1 Rot will get fully blocked by activating level 1 Flesh Heap and so on and so forth. With you probably wanting to prioritize Rot for damage, even if like you have 3 in Rot, 2 in Flesh Heap, it's probably better to just farm faster or to trade more effectively. It depends. But yeah, this is a decently high ranked game on the Chinese server I saw. And oh well, there's the bug where you reload into the game if you check the score screen. Sorry. But yeah, we're gonna check out. He's ranked 3 on the ladder right now in China. I think his Smurf is also super high up there. One of the top mids in China. And we'll see how he pilots the Pudge. I'm very curious to learn this hero myself. I've seen it played a couple times, and it'll be kind of like a learning experience together. Like the specific things. I saw it in a pro game recently too. They did offlane Alchemist to buy Pudge and Ags faster for mid. I think normally what I've seen on Dire at least is at certain points through the lane you can like sack your small camp later, and you can also hook into this camp. And I think on Radiant you probably hook the same camp. I think it's just this camp you're going to hook in between the waves is the closest. But yeah, well, we'll see how this goes. Clock is another mid that I saw, like, basically when they changed Battery Assault to double damage to creeps. I saw see people experiment with this. You just literally Battery Assault every wave. But yeah, as far as most mid matchups go for Pudge, I think there's probably some hard ones, but in almost all matchups you're looking to hook the range creep and just get your own farm. You're not really trying to, like, maybe you can get a kill at level 6 if you get to 6 kind of early, but your armor is really low, your movement speed's really low, you have high damage and low attack speed, so, like, you can sneak some denies in, like, he snuck a couple in so far, 3 is actually pretty high, but as you can, like, kind of get a picture of, like, there's been zero trading, he hasn't hit the clockwork at all, just completely focused on CSing, taking no damage, trying to remain super healthy. And the idea is you're trying to get like Phase Hood into Aghanims or something really early, and you can farm really, really fast with Rotten Flesh Heap. So, kind of a matchup thing, rushing the Magic Stick after Bottle. I think it's just because the clock will spam Q every single creep wave, and maybe even Rocket a bit. We'll kind of fast forward a little bit. We get the idea. Just farming, CSing. He's out CSing the Clockwork really bad. What rank is Clockwork? We're 25, so I mean, he does have a lot of damage. It's 80 to probably like 65 or something, or 60. So he has a huge like advantage in base damage. But I would also imagine that Paparazzi is probably just one of the better 1v1 mid laners on the server.
That's a bit of all.
So probably plays into it as well. Fast forward a little bit here. You can see keeping the Rot, like not getting too Flesh Heap, keeping the Rot at least on par or only one level above the Flesh Heap is what I've seen. Ah, he's going to hook this camp with his vision of it as well. So yeah, you have a couple options for the camps to hook, and you just want to kind of, like, you want to do it without losing creeps in the mid wave, from what I've seen. But you also want to kind of do it off cooldown if you can, so getting boots early is really nice for that. Shoving the wave out with Rot and Flesh Heap, since that's a really low mana commitment as well. And we'll probably see again here, I'm just walking over to one of the camps and hooking the creeps. Yeah. Oh, it's nice. That's a good creep camp to have too. For a mid Pudge. So 2 in Flesh Heap with 2 in Rot. You can see he's taking 0 damage from the Rot. It's a good rotation from the Zeus. Probably gonna go down here. And it's honestly, like, it's pretty bad for his game to die, but he's still, like, at least ahead or on par, so it won't be a big deal. Zeus is probably one of the better heroes against Pudge, I would imagine, with the Shard. Other heroes are kind of medium. I've actually seen mid Pudges or core Pudges in general with the Aghanims. I think it reduces healing. I'm not sure how it works versus... I'm pretty sure it works against the Morphling stat change. Maybe somebody in the comments can, like, wiki nerd me on that, but it looked like it was really strong versus Morphling. The game I had played with the Morphling on my team against Pudge. Just did not seem like he could do anything to the Pudge late game. I'd be curious to see if he's just going to let his ult fly to get some damage off, or if he's just going to be chilling. Phase Boots Rush is pretty good for mid or carry. I've seen off lanes just rush Vanguard and just chill in their lane and farm, or like rushing Hood. I think as a mid, you definitely want to have like some more mobility for yourself, like fighting for the runes, maybe rotating a little bit, going to the creep camps between the waves because you don't have as much time. No rune is always a little sad. Just fast forward a little bit. Easy kill on the Marcy here with the rotation from Monkey. Net worth, very, very farmed. This hero farms very, very fast.
Time to punch.
And Phase Boots is always nice for stuff like this. Like I mentioned a little bit, offlane Pudge probably cares a little more about just being tanky and trying to pressure the carry or sit in the tower to like kill it, like cutting waves with Vanguard, whatever. So the Flesh Heap isn't 100% uptime, of course. Just some more farming, playing for runes, very classic mid stuff, not so much Pudge specific. Big fight about to break out with an Invis rune on Pudge. I imagine he's going to try and go for the Mars pre-ulti. Oh, they had vision on him, actually. You can see, like, he's just taking no damage when he gets Flesh Heap off. It's insane. That's still only a level 2 Flesh Heap. It works on all damage, so like even a Dark Seer, Iron Shell, the Rot blocks 14 or 21 now per instance. So it's very, very, very strong. It's not just auto attacks or just even just like spell damage, I guess. It's literally everything.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Making sure this tower dies, just chilling, being chilling and farming. Saving Monkey King, maybe? It is a bit rough to, like, oh my god, the battery cell just wasn't even hurting him either. A bit rough with so many ways of canceling his ult, but it's not really the focus of the hero until you finish BKB. A lot of the hero is just running in with Rot and your Flesh Heap. So with Hood and then an Aghanims to buff your Rot even more. And then having BKB for when you have like a decent amount of strength from Flesh Heap and a couple more levels of this. Like the strength multiplier at level 18 is actually very significant for your damage. You have like somewhere like 150 strength at some point from all this, like your items and Flesh Heap stacks. You're doing a lot of damage with this ulti and the ulti talents. Absolute insanity. But you have this really strong mid-game power spike with the Aghanim Scepter as well, just playing off Rot. Anytime Pudge has felt strong to me in the super long time I've played Dota, it's when you can play around the Rot more so than the hook. Like, the hook is kind of, not necessarily a gimmick. There was fountain hooking or whatever with Chen, which is like a bit of a gimmick. It's kind of cool. Hook is like a really nice repositioning tool, but it's not like, even though it's like what Pudge is kind of famous for, it's not really his bread and butter. It's a pretty long cooldown. It's not the most reliable spell. Rot just does a lot of damage. It helps you, like, if you can close the gap on people, it helps you chase them down. You just want to be really tanky and sit on them with Rot. It's a lot. It's super hard to trade with them, and the Flesh Heap change really, like, amplifies that playstyle. You can just get in there and not worry at all. Over time, there's a lot of, like, miscellaneous changes that have hurt these types of heroes, like Pudge. Like, play against a carry with Scotty, your regen gets cut off, you get kited. you play against Spirit Vessel, these tankier heroes have a harder time staying in the fight. But it kind of solves all your issues having this Flesh Heap.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are falling.
Yeah, just playing super aggressive. I want to see him farm some more creeps so we can see how broken it is to just rot on stuff. I think you can even farm Ancients with your Rot and Flesh Heap. And here you go, like... Oh, this is without Flesh Heap active, actually. Come on, press Flesh Heap and kill some creeps so I can show it. Come on. Let's see how active he can be on Pudge as well. It's always nice to play these mid-heroes that can be active or farm. So, like, something even like a Kunkka, where your farming isn't, like, on a cooldown. Like, Rot and Flesh Heap are such low cooldowns, Rot being 0 cooldown. And then your other spells that you can join fights are no cooldown either, so you don't have any cooldowns for farming, like a Bat Rider with Firefly, or Bat Rider with Lasso at a super long cooldown. Kind of always be in the game. It's a nice even game too. You get to see some like mid to late game action on Pudge instead of just a complete stomp. A nice little snipe on the Zeus there. So here you can see literally taking 0 damage, tanking 2 camps. We'll even go back so we get a good picture of it. This makes it super easy for you to just farm if the game gets passive. That was Pudge's biggest problem. It's like, you can hit a bunch of 360 weed hooks or whatever, but you aren't scaling without getting kills. Nowadays, like, that was 0 damage from tanking 2 camps, farm them both at once, very efficiently, barely any mana cost, walk right over, big 360 weed hook into a kill. Very, very strong hero. I'd say his weakest point is the early laning. There's some heroes that just beat you up for having no armor. And even though you have a lot of base damage, it's kind of like tiny, like, but a little worse, because the tree gives you attack range at least, where you have a lot of damage, so you can rack up some denies or last hits. You don't really have any interaction. Like, your spells don't do that much damage if you land them on them. You can't really trade. And you can just get outranged by so many heroes. Poked down. But if you can get, like, a nice Pudge pick with a pretty simple lane, like Clockwork is really nice. I imagine some of the Spirit heroes are not that bad to lane against. Maybe Storm being the hardest, but he's not picked that much. Even Puck would be super simple to lane against. I feel like Lino would give you a lot of trouble. Ember might give you a little bit of trouble with Slights, but I think it's probably fine. I had played Dawnbreaker middle against a Pudge not too long ago, and it was very easy for Dawnbreaker. Just because, like, she also has really high base damage, but her spells just beat your ass super hard. Especially outside of Flesh Heap being active. Anything super range probably gives you some issues in the early lane. Another super simple hook. Curious to see how this goes when he has Aghanim, so we'll fast forward a bit. Again, it just... Having played this once before this patch, I really haven't touched Pudge at all. But before the buffs to Flesh Heap, it just felt really good being able to even just, like, clear Ancients a little bit with your Flesh Heap and Rot. Like, it just feels so good being able to kill creeps. Then you have, like, your BKB, your Blink, you can get right in there. Your ulti scales, like, not only do you scale with HP from Flesh Heap, right? And you're very tanky, and your Rot kind of scales with the Aghanims as well. Like, all of your spells scale so well. Like, Hook being the least scaling spell, but at the same time, it's like a repositioning tool in the late game, and it does pure damage, so... It's like, always is a big chunk of someone's HP. The Rot Cloud is so big with this too. Bonus damage 100, so it does 220 damage per second. It lowers the regen, which is probably even another 20 damage a second or so on someone with a lot of regen. It just feels so good. god, that was so much damage on a Mars.
A spare wheel.
I think the first person I saw really like play this against me a few times was Gunner, and he had like a really bad early game, and it just felt so hard to fight into the like eventual Hags BKB. Just felt like there was nothing you could really do about it. It's even killing Roach so quickly. Oh, Healing Ward plus Pudge also feels really disgusting. There's like a bunch of cute combos like that. Like Healing Ward is super nice. Like I mentioned earlier, Paparazzi's own team, XG, they did Alchemist offlane to just give him a super early Ags BKB, so instead of having Ags in his story, you just have BKB. He might die here, no Healing Ward, and didn't get... if he got Flesh Sheep off with Active Hood, he probably would have lived for the whole ulti, to be honest, but either way, not a big deal. Going Blink first, maybe he feels like he needs more catch this game. There's not that many. There's a Monkey King stun, and that's it. Like, Monkey King stun hook is pretty much their only catch. Maybe some visage stuns. But I think the standard build would be that BKB. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention, at 10 and 15, you get really nice talents for the build too. So I've seen people get the Eternal Shroud eventually over Hood, which, like, obviously, if you're doing 220 rot damage a second in a huge AoE, you're going to be healing so much from spell lifesteal of any kind, and then the rot slow on top of it already, like, it's 50% slow. It's like a Giga Scotty on their whole team, basically. So yeah, it definitely feels like he needs a bit more reach. The high 5 hook, that's a classic. So this time he got Flesh Sheep off, you can see, like, the Mars ulti did absolutely nothing. Plus the Wraith Pact, plus Healing Ward was up for a while. Just look how much damage this Mars is taking from Rod. It's ridiculous. A pretty even fight.
Bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Jesus.
Bottom tower has fallen.
As far as like what to do against this hero, the like limited experience I have playing against it, it feels like 4 staffs are really, really strong, and like being able to kite him in general, but it does feel really difficult to deal with. Like, I don't know, like Vessel felt like it wasn't dealing enough, especially since the ticks kind of get blocked by Flesh Heap anyway. It didn't really feel like there was some super simple answer outside of just really big physical damage. So something like maybe like a TA, like a bunch of minus armor, like a Slardar. And there's items they can build for that too. Like the team can build Lotus, he can build his own Lotus, Shivas. Having Shivas this game, even though they don't have the most physical damage, would just be so good against the Morphling as well. Especially if, I'm pretty sure the way the Ags works stops the Morphling from stat swapping as quickly. Or not like the stat swapping, but the healing from it. I'm pretty sure it counts as regen. It doesn't say it stops lifesteal, it says just regen. I know some of them have like very specific wording. Yeah, he's going Shiva's next, of course. So like Shiva says heals, regeneration, lifesteal, so I know that for sure works against Morphling because they use all 3 categories, but I forgot which one Morphlings is considered.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
It's very rare that like it doesn't have all of them. I think Venos was regen only for a while. There's like a Necrophos talent as well that specifically says only regen. I just don't play those heroes like a tremendous amount, so it's not something I'm too familiar with. I think BKB seems pretty good this game, but maybe he just really doesn't need it. Like Shiva's again would be super, super good. Even Eternal Shroud would probably feel really good, but they do have like enough healing. They have a Pugna and the Healing Ward, of course. I wonder why people don't get Kaya Sange as much. It feels like the Spell Amp and the extra regen would be really nice. But maybe it's one of those things where there's just too many items you want to build.
What a bounty!
Is that a Radiance on Clockwork? What a mad lad. It's a Giga Chad Clockwork build, actually. Radiance, BKB, Clock mid. But yeah, this is a pretty even game, so I thought it'd be super cool to take a look at and see how the Pudge plays out. You're getting caught first. Oh my god, so much healing. If they can reset with the healing ward, it'd be really nice too. He definitely wishes he had a BKB. I think BKB is definitely core on this hero. There's one thing I've picked up on from this game, the one downfall Paparazzi has had this game is no BKB. Letting you, like, having the ability to get your full ult channel off too is, like I said, is really good. He already has like 110, 120 strength. 125, 115 strength, sorry. So, dealing that with Dismember, the Dismember talents would be really nice. Yeah, he's getting BKB before Shiva's. He is in agreements. Or maybe I influenced his mind in the past somehow, a little bit of time travel action. 3 kills. I want to see some big team fights. Where's the big team fights? He might honestly want the Aegis. Oh, that was a big play from Morphling. Holy based. Still taking 0 damage from Morphling auto-attacking him though. Morphling popped Satanic, so that'll be able to heal him more than the stat swapping. Very awkward to not have Flesh Sheep up. Close. They should be able to chase this Morphling down. Oh my god, the healing ward is disgusting. Forcing 2 buybacks and getting out to reset is really good. Even if Visage died. Oh, so much damage. Like, he's not taking any damage from that Morphling in that fight. Absolute insanity. I'll probably be picking this hero a little bit myself in the next coming couple weeks. It seems really fun to play. It seems really strong. There's been like a lot of mid heroes nerfed in the past like 6 months or so. I think Puck is like the last bastion of hope for like fun mid heroes. Storm's nerfed out of existence. Void Spirit's not as good as it used to be. Same with Ember Spirit, kind of. It's more so been... There's some Tinies, there's been Coddle, some Puck. Bean is out of the game pretty much. Pudge, I've seen some Tusk, just like some random cool heroes. Clockwork even this game. People have experimented a lot more trying other heroes just because a lot of the classic mids have just been nerfed too much. Does it say how much damage this will do? So it's 120 plus, let's just call it like 160. 150 actually, 151 times 0.9, so like 130. So yeah, that's like a lot of damage already. Plus it'll last an extra 0.8 seconds. So about a 4-second BKB piercing disable. And I think the damage pierces spell immunity now, ever since that BKB change a couple years back. So like, you have like pure damage on your hook and Dismember to go through BKB, it's just very strong. There's a bottle for the jug. Oh my god, that guy just got eaten alive. You see that again. Yeah, that was like 300 damage maybe from one tick of the Dismember. That was insane. Maybe Dota will be exciting with a bunch of core Pudges at TI this year. We'll see. Maybe even at least in the TI qualifiers.
Double damage.
Very simple raxing here. Let me rewind just a little bit. See why he chose to jump in at this moment with the healing ward on cooldown as well. He's pinging a bunch, sees the Morphling, maybe he wants to force BKB or just chain stun him. Jesus, that's so much damage. That was a lot of force staffing and tossing around by Marcy though. So it ends up being quite a bad fight. I kind of had a feeling that was going to go really bad. I don't think he anticipated them being able to move him around so much. He nearly one-shot the Morphling there. I wonder if you ever buy Shard as core Pudge either, because I think like you just need to use your ult for damage. It is nice to have an option, but maybe only for Roche or something like that. Run away. The clock dieback, I believe. This is something I usually see a lot more in like some Herald or Guardian games where 5 men down a lane, people die, enemy 5 men down the lane, the buybacks kill them all, and then it just rinse and repeats until everyone's out of buybacks. But it is kind of like true in higher MMR games too, where you need to force the buybacks after you buy back a lot of the time. And it's sometimes too hard to get out once you go into their base. Here's see what items does Jug have too. Let's see. Not a big fan of Aghanims on Jug anymore over just getting a blink from the stat blinks. Jesus. Marcy's just gonna die back immediately. They have the healing ward up? 220 regen with the healing ward. Overall, pretty well played, I'd say, from Dire. I think the Pudge, it just kind of looks and feels like a regular mid-hero, which is crazy. It flash farms, it ganks, like, it just feels like a regular high-tempo mid-hero. Doesn't seem like too gimmicky or clowny in any way. Just seems kind of overtuned, for sure. I'll definitely be playing some of this myself. I don't know if you guys end up playing a lot of mid-Pudge after seeing this. You can also let me know in the comments. Definitely want to try some different builds out too. I think BKB and Ags are definitely core and like overwhelming blink even, but if you don't need Shivas or armor, maybe E-Blade could be cool, or like Kai Assange. Refresher is probably sick. Yeah, I just chomped him away. We'll see how much damage he does in the crafts in the game too. I feel like this game is about to wrap up. I think they'll Roche and Mega Creeps. Just fast forward a bit. Overwhelming Link's probably a lot of fun too. Just another slow AoE. Oh my god, he's chonking him. Through BKB too. Would obviously do more damage without BKB because of Raw. Yeah, it seems Pudge is super cool. So let's head up to the scoreboard here. See how this one goes. I think I can use my Dota Plus stuff, right? Maybe I can't. It would have been cool to see the breakdowns of all the spells, but... Damage check. He did 38k, which I believe should be the highest in the game, yeah. Even in a game with Zeus. So it just goes to show how much damage you can really pump out the Aghanims. So a lot of it is the AoE damage. Yeah, there's the skill build again, if anyone's curious. All the Dismember Talons post 20. Spell Lifesteal Rot Slow every game. Meat Hook level 1, and then Flesh Heap and Rot you alternate getting, but you want to get Rot ahead of Flesh Heap after the first level of Flesh Heap for the most part. Yeah, I think that's about it for this video. It's cool, at least seeing this hero from a replay perspective play out, and different item decisions, and the way Paparazzi approached the team fights in this game as well. And see some of the mistakes. I don't think he's played too much, like Bronze Pudge, you know, I don't think he's played it too much, but you can still kind of get a big idea of how the hero works. And yeah, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. Watch my Twitch, twitch.tv/iAnnihilate, and see ya.